Good morning from Holbox Island here in Mexico. I'm here, it's been a couple nights now, and it's been a fantastic experience so far. Very relaxed, very chill, and I can certainly see why people love this place so much. I've just been relaxing here at my hotel. Mayari is the name of the hotel. It's recognizable with the big mural on the side. And I've just been chilling up on my balcony, doing some reading, getting a bit of work done, and it's been great. So today I am heading down to go get some breakfast, and then I'm going to scope out some options on maybe renting one of these golf carts, and then going for a little drive around the island and see what it's like today. On the island itself, there's not a lot of like tourist attraction type stuff to see here. So when you do come here, the whole idea really is, beach, relaxation, just having some good vibes and not stressing about the world too much. And it has definitely been that so far. So yeah, let's head down, get some breakfast and some coffee, and get our day started. One of the things that's kind of nice about Holbox Island, if you're not familiar with it, is there's a distinct lack of vehicles on the roads. So most, I would say probably 90% of the vehicles here are either golf carts or souped up golf carts. So on this island, there's no real cars per se. There's a few here and there, but primarily they are what you just saw drive by, which is these four-wheeler kind of taxis. So those and golf carts really make up the majority of the vehicles on the island, which is kind of nice. Makes for pretty quiet in the evenings too, which is, a great way to kind of unwind after a chill day of doing nothing. Go back to your hotel and have a relaxing, chill night of doing nothing. So we're just out here, sort of on the, I guess what you call the main drag, coming up. So down this way at the far end is the ferry terminal, and far end, I mean like 3 blocks. And then this way, if you were to continue up this street about another 6 blocks, you get to the beach. Alright, so breakfast is done. I had it here at Cocina El Paso, which is about a block or so from the ferry terminal here on the main road, and it was delicious. It's affordable. There's a lot of places here on the island that I think that cater to people who want to spend a lot of money on fancy foods and fancy dinners, and but there are definitely some economic options here as well. One of the places I found yesterday for breakfast as well, I'll put on the screen here, was also really well priced. Food was good. Coffee wasn't great, but coffee here at El Paso was really good. So I would strongly recommend it if you're looking for a place to go for some cheap breakfast. So we're just going to take a walk down the main street here in Holbox, and just kind of show you what it looks like. Again, as I mentioned earlier, like all the roads here are sand. I think from what I've sort of pieced together, it looks like at one point there were probably paved roads here, but with the weather and erosion and everything else, I suspect that the roads just kind of ultimately got washed away and wasn't worth the time to try and fix it up again. One of the things I had read was that the entire island sits between 1 and 2 meters above sea level at its highest point, and I can totally believe it. You're walking along the street here, it's completely flat from the point of entry on the ferry to the beach on the other side of the island here. not really any hills or anything to speak of, so I can see why when it rains here, when there's storms and stuff, a lot of the roads here get pretty flooded. I will say it looks like the roads here have dried up quite a bit from a couple days ago. It was pretty swampy here when I first arrived, after it had just rained for a couple days prior. But yeah, it definitely has made it a little easier to get around. I think a lot of the side streets and stuff are probably still pretty wet, but it's not too bad now. Just continuing to make my way down here towards the beach. And I actually stopped in at one of the rental places here just to check on the prices. And I'll put those on the screen here. Which wasn't too bad, I think, for everything's included, taxes and insurance and all that stuff. I certainly wouldn't need one for a whole day, but a couple hours maybe, 4 hours tops. You can only go so far on the island too, so from here, once you get to the end of the road here, you actually can't go left because it's too swampy. But they say you can actually go right up to, I think it's called the Mosquito Point, which is about 5K outside of the downtown area along the coast, which would make for a nice drive for sure. So I may look into a couple other spots and see what the prices are like, and then maybe pick up one of those and go for a little drive today. Beauty of a day here today. Sunny, a few clouds, but as always, with the year being on the island, a nice breeze. It's great for that. Only a couple more blocks and we're at the beach. So there's an example there. You can see of how swampy the road is. And this side here is actually closed off to anything but pedestrians. So still pretty wet here in some spots. I think there's another rental place not too far from here, so I'm going to check there as well, and we'll see what the prices are like. My suspicion that they're probably fairly consistent across the board for prices, but we will find out. So I would say the entire walk from the ferry pier to the other side here at the beach is probably no more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, depending on how leisurely you decide to walk. And that's it. Welcome to the beach here at Holbox Island. And this beach extends as far as you can see that way, and as far as you can see that way. It's actually quite shallow too, so one of the things I've read a lot that's popular here is going out to the sandbars during low tide. I would say right now it's probably not low tide, just based on how close up to the shore here the water is. But I do know that when the tide gets out and the sandbars become accessible, you can walk out quite a ways from the shore and you're still in like less than a foot of water. So, but just an absolutely beautiful spot here. So to give you some perspective, if you were to draw a straight line due north from where I am standing, I would say that about 300 to 400 miles due straight north of here, you'd hit probably somewhere around the area of Pensacola, Florida, up in the northern part of Florida. That would probably be roughly sort of straight out there. And but yeah, it's, you know, you're basically at one side of the Gulf of Mexico, and then up there would be the Florida, you know, over there, Florida Panhandle and sort of stuff over that way, and then over this way you get into like New Orleans and then over to Texas. But that's all, you know, pretty far away from here. Anyway, I saw a little street market up here. I was going to go check on another couple of rentals, and we'll do that too at the same time, but there's a little street market up here that I want to go have a look at and see what they've got.